All right. I have 9 o'clock, so I'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the fire weather briefing for September 16th, 2025. I'm Rachel, and I'm on for Spokane today. And for the Seattle side, we have Dana. Oh, forgot to read just a reminder, our daily disclosure statement. This meeting is being recorded. By joining and participating in this session, consent is being given to the recording. Please keep cameras off per NOAA Privacy Act statement. Taking a look at our 24-hour precipitation, we had some showers linger for quite a while yesterday over far eastern Washington and the northern Idaho panhandle. We can see northern Idaho got upwards of half an inch of rain in places. And looking at our current satellite imagery, a ridge of high pressure has built in over much of the Pacific Northwest. So all those clouds and showers have cleared out, and it will be a beautiful, warm and dry week ahead. And I wanted to show a more zoomed in satellite. We can see fog formed in a lot of those northeastern and northern Idaho valleys after those showers we had yesterday, when things cleared out last night and the winds got pretty light. We had some pretty dense fog up there mixed with smoke and resulted in some pretty low visibilities. And we had a little bit in the valleys of the Eastern Cascades as well. So taking a look at our fire weather summary, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Dana first to talk about Western Washington.
All right, thanks, Rachel. Yeah, today's our critical day as far as fire weather goes. We do have a red flag warning up for the Cascades and the foothills. Offshore flow, easterly winds. We've already had easterly winds gusting to 30 to 35 miles an hour north band and Enumclaw. This morning, the winds are peaking right now, and relative humidities this afternoon will be dropping into the 25 to 30% range. Once we get past today, the low-level flow turns onshore tomorrow, and then we're actually looking at maybe some wetting rains on Sunday.
All right, thanks, Dana. And then for Eastern Washington and North Idaho, we are looking at warm and dry conditions through the end of the work week, and then we'll see our next trough and cold front move through heading into the weekend, bringing some breezy conditions and cooling things down toward the end of the weekend and the next week. So we'll see some elevated fire weather Saturday into Sunday as those winds start to pick up with that front. And just showing with that potential cold front passage heading into next weekend, the maximum daily hot, dry, and windy index. This is for the Moses Lake area in the Columbia Basin. It does show potential for that hot, dry, windy index to exceed the 95th percentile, which in order for it to cross that 95th percentile, that threshold is dropping as we get into late September. But it'll be pretty dry and breezy, so that will be a time period to watch for sure. And then looking at our 6 to 10 day outlook for September 21st through 25th, we've got above normal precipitation and above normal temperatures. And then moving on to our hazards grid, I will pass it off to Dana to speak to the west side hazards.
Yeah, as you can see, we've got our red flag warning up for portions of Western Washington. That's for the dry and Windy conditions. We've also got a wind advisory out for the foothills of the Cascades. And like I mentioned earlier, we've already seen gusts in the 30 to 35 mile an hour range in North Bend and Enumclaw this morning. We expect those to increase a little bit later this morning and peak midday into early afternoon, and probably remain through the afternoon hours before tailing off this evening.
All right, and no hazards on the east side here today. And then for the weather tabs, I'll just show max temperatures for today. We're looking at quite a bit warmer than yesterday over here on the east side, ranging from around 5 degrees warmer near the Cascades in central Washington to around 20 degrees warmer over in North Idaho, in the low to mid 80s, and then looks like low 80s to even a couple 90s over on the west side. And then min-RHs, widespread 20s across pretty much the whole state. And showing the winds, we've got those easterly winds that Dana was talking about across the Cascades and through the Columbia Basin for us here on the east side. We've got gusts to 20, 25 miles an hour, and he mentioned they were seeing 30 to 35 over there on the west side, and then a little bit less over here on the east side, but we are expecting this afternoon some gusts in the neighborhood of 20 miles an hour through the exposed areas of the Columbia Basin, and along some of those eastern slopes of the Cascades, through those Cascade gaps. Anything else you wanted to add for the winds today, Dana?
No, our main concerns, as the graphic shows, is along the Cascades and into the foothills. The easterlies die out when they get further into the lowlands, although we could see 20 miles an hour or so here in the metro area. But the main concern is the Cascades and the foothills.
All right. And then winds are expected to lighten and shift back westerly as the ridge axis moves east of the Cascades into tomorrow. We'll take a look at the winds here. Getting a lot lighter and more variable as that ridge axis shifts east. So we can expect those winds to let up into tomorrow. And then I wanted to show Saturday the winds as our next cold front's expected to move through heading into next weekend. We're expecting winds to pick up out of the southwest across a lot of the Columbia Basin here on the east side. Expecting, of course, this is subject to change. This is still pretty far out, but sustained speeds of 10 to 15 miles an hour, gusts 20 to 25. And then Sunday, those winds will pick up even further, 25 to maybe 30 miles an hour. So that'll be a period to watch out for. That's all I wanted to show with that. And then for the trends, let's go to the west side. I'll pass it back to Dana for the Fire Training Academy.
Yeah, so you can see here's one of the places that it's going to be exposed to the easterly winds today. So a warm day with highs around 80, and you can see the relative humidity values dropping down below 30% later this afternoon. So that's one of the reasons why we have the red flag up. And then let's look at Marble Mount as well. And even though they're not as exposed to the easterly winds, you can still see they'll be a little bit warmer. And also they still have the RH minimum values late this afternoon hovering around 30%. That's kind of a common value, the like mid 20s, lower 30s, where the minimum RH is bottoming out later this afternoon into the early evening hours for all the Cascades and the Cascade foothills.
All right. Thanks, Dana. It's pretty dry for over there on the west side. And then taking a look at over here in Spokane's area, I wanted to show the Dry Creek station. So we've got several days of pretty warm temperatures in the 80s, just above 80 degrees through the end of the week here. And then we see a cooling trend through next weekend. RH is pretty dry, dipping down into the 20s each afternoon. And we see winds picking up next weekend with that front expected to move through and some precip chances returning as well. That will be a common theme. And then I wanted to show, let's go with Bonner's Ferry up in North Idaho. Kind of similar trends here. Several days of warm temperatures through this week, getting up into the mid 80s and then cooling down in the next weekend. Pretty low RHs in the afternoons. And then fairly light winds through the week until that front hits Saturday, Sunday. So I think that's it for trends. Show the 8 to 14 day outlook. Looking at near normal temperatures and above normal precipitation. I believe the 6 to 10 day had above normal temperatures and above normal precipitation. So maybe cooling off a little bit in that extended period. And then I think that is all for today. So as always, you can find more fire weather info on our fire dashboard at weather.gov/otx/fire dashboard. And I'll go ahead and stop the recording here.